Hello everyone and welcome back. So in this video, I will show you how to build a complete authentication system in Next.js using Better Auth. We are cover the sign up, the sign in, and even the forget password flow. For our database, we are going to use the Prisma ORM with PostgreSQL. And basically, we are integrate the Resend to send password reset email to the user. So by the end of this tutorial, you will have fully working authentication setup ready to use in your project. So let's take a look at the final project. As you can see, this is just really simple things. If I click the dashboard, as you can see, the dashboard page is basically protected route. So if I click that, it will redirect me back to the login page. So I have to log in to access the dashboard basically. So let's try to sign up. As you can see, this is my Prisma Studio. Now this is just one user. So let's try to log in with another user. So here I want to give my name, right? And then my email at gmail.com. And the password, I'm going to do 12341234, right? And if I do wrong, not match password in here, as you can see, if I click sign up, I have password do not match. So let's do that again. 12341234. If I click sign up, it's basically will redirect me to the dashboard, right? Now I'm a login. Let's take a look here. For example, I forget my password, right? So let's go to login, and then here I'm going to click the forget your password. So if I click that, now I'm on the forget password page. And then in here, basically I can put my email. So let's do at gmail.com, right? So I'm going to click send reset link. So this basically will send the reset link on my email basically. So I'm going to open my Gmail account. All right, so as you can see, if I click, this basically will sending, and as you can see, the password reset link has been sent to your email. So let's take a look on my inbox right here. And then here we go. This is the email look like. As you can see, we have reset your password, hi there, etc., etc. Basically, you can click this button or just copy and paste this link, right? So I'm going to click this reset password button, and as you can see, it redirect me to the localhost 3000 and then slash reset password and then give this token value, right? And then now I can just change my password. So let's do my password. And then confirm the new password, which is my password. Click reset password, and then this should be successful. As you can see, I can now log in with my new password, of course. So we can do my password, login, and as you can see, it works, right? If you check on the here, right, it's basically my account in here that login into the Prisma Studio. Right, that's what you're going to learn in this video. Hope this will be helpful. So let's get started. All right, so let's generate a brand new Next.js application. I'm gonna give a name Better Auth forgot password, right? So let's just hit enter. TypeScript, I'm gonna do yes, ESLint and Tailwind, and then source directory, I'm gonna say no. App router, yes. TurboPack, yes. And import alias, I'm gonna do no. All right, it's done. So now we can cd to the Better Auth forgot password, and then we can open that in Visual Studio Code. So first, what we have to do is I'm going to initialize ShadCN in this project. So let's open a terminal, and then let's open ui.shadcn.com, and then go to the installation, click Next.js, and then just copy this command right here, npx shadcn add lattice init, paste that into terminal, and then hit enter. For the base color, I'm going to use neutral, and then everything should be fine right now, as you can see. So now we are going to generate or clone the button component, just trying to use the ShadCN component. So we can do npx shadcn add lattice, add a button, right? This basically will also generate the component folder. So let's take a look. Component and then UI folder, and then inside that we have button.tsx right here. All right, everything is set up, pretty cool. So let's do npm run dev. All right, so this is the default template of Next.js. So let's go back, and then I'm gonna open the app/page.tsx, and basically I just want to paste this super simple home component. So let's take a look. Here I have like flags, minimal hic, etc. This is basically just to make sure every content it should be on the center. And then we have basically the important part is, as you can see in here, we have 3 button. Login is basically when I click that button, it should be go to the /login. If I click the another button, which is sign up, it should be go to the /sign up. And then this one right here is basically the dashboard page, right? This is the protected road. So if I save that, as you can see, it just look like this, right? Super simple, nothing fancy, anything in here, just to show you how the Better Auth works. Great. So the home component is done. So next, let's try to create the login page. So on the app right here, I'm going to create login folder. And inside that, I'm going to create page.tsx file. Let's do RFC, change the component name to login page. So now if I click login button, as you can see, now we on the login page, right? Super simple. And in here, basically, I'm going to create some state. That's why this component, it should be a client component. So I want to use client right here. I'm going to put some state in here. As you can see, it's basically the email, the password, the error, and the loading. And also on this div, I'm going to use this class name right here. This is basically just to make sure the text or whatever inside this div, it should be on the center. So let's take a look right here, right? Just pretty simple. And the next thing is I'm going to basically use the card component from the ShadCN. So let's take a look card. And then what we have to do is try to just copy the comment and then open a terminal and then just paste that down here, just like that. npx ShadCN, let us add card, right? And then what we have to do is trying to use that here. I'm going to copy everything and then just trying to import on the top like that. And also the card right here, I'm going to paste that inside this div. Here we go. So let's try to do npm run dev again. All right, the card, it should be look like this. So let's try to go back, and then this card, I'm going to add class name, and then the width, I'm going to setting that to full, and then the maximal width is medium. So let's take a look. Here we go. Anyway, I don't need the card action, so let's try to just remove that like this. For the card title and the description, I just want to copy and paste that. Here we go, right? We have the login, and then enter your credential to access your account. Here we go. Cool. And then for the content, this is basically the form, like the input for the email and password, right? Don't worry, I don't want to waste your time by watching me typing any class name. So I'm going to paste this form right here. So as you can see, this form is basically have this on submit, and the function is handle submit. So every time I submit the form or click the button right here, right, the button we type submit, is basically will trigger the handle submit function. So let's try to create that function on the top right here, const handle submit set equals to an arrow function. And then anyway, we need also install the label and input component from the ShadCN UI. So let's try to open another terminal here, and I'm going to do npx ShadCN add lettuce, and I'm going to do label and also input component. So let's hit enter. And then after that, we have to basically import that component, right? First on this button, I'm going to import that from the component /UI, and this label component /UI, this input component /UI. Okay, cool. So now let's take a look. There's no error. Cool. Here we go, right? That's the result. Super clean. So we have this div, right, that have the email label, and then the input with type email, and then this input is basically require. And of course, you can add validation in this input if you want, but I'm not going to do that because it's take a time, right? So this is just really simple input, as you can see here, and also the password as well with this placeholder. And if something wrong happened, as you can see, I just render the error inside this class name. And then also this button submit is basically will disable if the loading is true, and then just show this text right here if the loading is true as well. Super simple. So I think I'm not going to use the card footer, so let's just try to remove that and paste this link right here. As you can see, we have this div, right, that have this link. If user click this forget your password, it basically will redirect user into the /forget password page. And then also I'm going to use the quick fix. As you can see here, don't have an account. It's basically will redirect user to the sign up page. Let's try. Here I have this text, right? If I click forget your password, now I'm on the forget password page. If I click the sign up, I'm on the /sign up. Super simple. So now let's create the sign up page. So anyway, the sign up page, it should be really similar with the sign in, with the login page. So I'm gonna copy that and paste that inside the same directory, same level with login. And I'm gonna change the name to the, let me do sign up like this. And then I'm gonna do yes. Save that. So anyway, I'm gonna change the login name to the sign up page, just like that. So now let's take a look at the result. If I open the sign up, now we on the sign up, and as you can see, the login is still rendered because the component is the same. So I'm gonna change the card title and then card description. So for the title, I'm gonna use sign up. For the card description, create a new account to get started. So let's take a look. Here we go, right? And then also the bottom right here, I'm going to change that as well. So in here, normally I'm going to just remove everything and try to render this div, right? Let's say if you have already have an account, just go to login. So let's take a look at this one right here, right? If I click that, now we on the login. If I click that again, now we on the sign up. But anyway, also this button should not log in. So I just want to paste that like so, creating account with 3 dots and then sign up, which is the default value. As you can see, we have sign up right here. So because we need name field in here, I'm going to add this name state on the top. And also I'm going to add the confirm password field. So that's why I just want to paste this like that. Here we go. So now let's try to add that field down here. First, we have the email. So I think first we have to put name first, right? This is the name field. As you can see, the label, name, the input, the type is text, and placeholder John Doe, and etc. Right? This is the first that render. As you can see, we have name and then email and password. And then after that, we have the confirm password. So I'm gonna paste that down here. As you can see, it's just super simple. As you can see, everything is the same. So the important part is the value here and the on change. Just that's it, right? So let's take a look here. We have name, email, password, confirm password. Super cool. The UI is done, right? So now let's try to create the forget your password page because now it's just an empty. So I think I just want to copy this URL here, forget password, and then go back to the VS Code. And then inside the app folder, I'm going to create the forget password folder for the page. And then inside that, I'm going to do page.tsx file. Here we go. And anyway, the UI should be similar. So that's why I just want to copy and then paste that like this. And then the component name, I'm going to change that. So I'm going to use the forget password page. So on the forget password, basically we don't need this password input field. We need to just email basically. So user can type in email to get the link to reset the password basically. So I also want to add another state like success or error, right? We have the error here, and also I'm going to add this success. The success by default is should be false, just like this. And also don't forget to update the card title and then card description, just like this. As you can see, card title is forget password, description, enter your email to receive and password reset link. And of course, we don't need this password. That's why I just want to remove that. And let's take a look at the result. As you can see, forget password and etc. For the things down here, I just want to remove that. So let's scroll down, and then I think all this div, I'm going to just remove that. Here we go. And then still inside the form, I think I'm going to add another button. As you can see, this button is basically just normal button, not submit button, just a normal button. When I click that button, it should be redirect me to the login. So that's why the text is back to login. So let's take a look at the result. Here we go, right? So if I click that, it will basically redirect me to the login page, just like that. Cool. And then the login text in here, I should change that. So here I'm going to just change everything in here. As you can see, if the loading, just change that to sending. If not loading, or the loading is false by default, I use send reset link. Here we go. Okay, everything should be fine right now. So let's try to working with the Better Auth that you waiting for. So let's go to Better Auth here, or I think I'm going to commit that first, everything in here. So I'm going to do git add all, say git commit -m. So I'm going to do create all UI, sign in, sign up, and forgot password. Hit enter, done, cool. So everything should be committed. But as you can see, I just forgot to remove the card footer here. Let's take a look. Why this is still having warning? Because the error of the state, I think, is fine. Let's remove the card footer as well. Cool. So now let's try to working with Better Auth. Let's go to betterauth.com and then let's go to the get started here and then go to the installation. As you can see, the first thing is we have to install the package. So let's try to copy the command right here and then just try to install it. npm install Better Auth. All right, it's done. So let's take a look. The next step is basically we need to put the Better Auth secret. So let's try to generate a secret in here. I'm gonna click that. As you can see, we have this value. So I'm gonna copy everything and then try to go back to the project. And then in here, we need to create .env file. Here we go, and just paste that down here. So anyway, I like to just create like a comment down here. So this is basically for the Better Auth. Here we go. After we create the Better Auth secret, the next thing is we also need to put the base URL. So I just want to copy that and then paste that down here, right? The base URL, because we're working on the localhost 3000, of course, we have to put that localhost 3000. Cool. So next thing is we have to create the auth.ts file inside the lib folder or inside the utils folders. I'm going to use the lib folders. So I'm going to copy, what is that? I think because we're using PostgreSQL, right? We're going to use Postgres and Prisma, by the way. So that's why we're going to use this. So I'm going to copy that. On the lib, I'm going to create a file called, or the name of the file, auth.ts. So let's do auth.ts file and then just paste that like this. As you can see, it's need to have the Prisma client. We don't yet generate the Prisma client. So that's why I'm going to open my blog first. So this is basically step by step that you can install Prisma on Next.js, right? Just open the link on description. So the first thing, we are going to install the package, the Prisma package, hit enter, npm install Prisma has a self dependency. And also we need to initialize the Prisma. Cool, it's done. So let's do npx Prisma init. This is basically will create the Prisma folder for us. So let's just wait for that. All right, it's done. So as you can see, we have the Prisma folder and inside that we have the schema.prisma. So now what we have to do is we need to run npx Prisma generate. So let's hit enter. So as you can see, it's done. And then now it should be create the lib generated Prisma. So let's take a look. Here we have the lib generated Prisma, right? So this is basically what we are going to use on the auth.ts file. So here I'm going to remove that and then try to import that from the generated /Prisma. Just that's it. For the provider, I'm not going to use SQLite. I'm going to use PostgreSQL basically. So let's take a look. There's a lot of things that you can use in here, but I'm going to select PostgreSQL. So let's save that. And then because I'm using PostgreSQL, I'm going to change the environment variable in here. So let's take a look. I'm going to remove all this comment. We don't need that. And this is basically for the database. And then for the database URL, I'm going to use my local PostgreSQL here. You can just find any PostgreSQL on Neon on everything you want. But I'm going to use my local things. So I'm going to starting right here and then go back to my block right here and try to just copy this, right? And then go back, try to just paste that. And in my local, basically the user, it should be Postgres. And also for the password, it's just random password. For the database, I'm going to use like a Better Auth tutorial, just like this. It doesn't really matter, but just put anything you want. Cool. So now we have that. And then the next thing is what we have to do is let's try to go back to the installation of Better Auth after we specify the Better Auth database provider, etc. So we need to basically create the schema, right? And the beauty about the Better Auth is you can use this command right here to basically generate the schema. So let's try here. I'm gonna copy everything, right? The npx Better Auth /CLI generate. I'm gonna copy that, and then let's try to go back to the project, and I'm gonna paste that down here. So I'm gonna open the schema.prisma. As you can see now, there's no table in here. There's no model, right? So let's try to generate that, and then magic will be happen. So let's try to just wait that, and then I believe we have the question in here, right? It's a like it will basically override the schema. So I'm gonna do yes, of course. And as you can see, after I click yes, now we have the model user, we have the session, we have the account, we have the verification. That's super cool. So we have everything that we need in here. The next thing is what we have to do is we need to specify what the authentication method that we want. In this case, I want to enable the email and password. You can also put the GitHub or Google or etc. But I'm going to focus on the email and password. So let's go back to auth.ts file, this one right here. And then what we are going to do here, I'm going to put the email and password. So let's do email and password, and then put the enable to true. Just that's it, and we're done, I think. Let's scroll down, and then we have to create the mount handler because we're using Next.js. Just try to click this Next.js right here, and basically we need to create this route, right? API/out/all and etc. I want to copy everything that, and then try to go to app and then paste that right here. Cool. So now the content, it should be everything that in here. I'm gonna paste that. Here we go. And the last step is we need to create the client instance. So we need to create the out client.ts file still on the lib folder. So let's do on the lib folder, right? Lib folder, I'm gonna paste the out client.ts file. And in here, I think I'm gonna copy everything, paste that. And then what we need to export from this file is basically everything in here, right? The sign in function, the sign up, the use session. Even in here, you can grab the, I believe, sign out, right? We also can grab the forget password function, and also can grab the reset password function as well, right? Super cool. And normally what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the base URL from the env file basically. So let's take a look in here. I'm going to create a next public app URL and paste this value here for now because we are on the localhost 3000, right? We're on the development. So I'm going to put this localhost 3000, and then I'm going to put this value on the out client right here. So the best URL should be from the process.env.next public app URL, and I'm going to put or localhost 3000. That's it. And then now, what the next thing? That's it. We done, bro. So let's take a look how this works. So let's try to sign up. For now, of course, nothing happened because if you take a look on the sign up page, app and then sign up, on this handle submit, we not do anything, right? So in here, we have to run the sign up function from the lib/out client. So we need to use this sign up and running that inside the handle submit function, and it just basically will works. Let's try. Here, what I'm going to do. So first, I'm going to make sure that this function, it should be an async function. And then inside in here for the parameter, I'm going to use the E for the event. And what I'm going to do is say e.prevent default. It's basically will prevent the loading when I submit the form. So inside in here, I'm going to use try and catch. Try and then catch. I catch the error like this. So what we have to do in here is, let's take a look on the documentation, click the basic usage. And then here, as you can see, we can run the await outclient.signup.email, and we can put the email. This is the user email address. We can put the password, and the password is basically minimal 8 character by default. And then we have the name, the user display name, the image is optional, and then the callback URL. So let's try. Here I'm gonna do const result set equals to await for the sign up. Sign up is basically come from the lib/out client that we already create. And then here I'm gonna run email, right? And then inside that, I'm gonna send the email set equals to email from the state here. And also I'm gonna send the name and also the password. Here we go. And here I can check if the result dot error have a value. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the error state into the result dot error dot message. And else if the maybe the error message from the Better Auth is empty or something like that, I'm gonna put this sign up failed for the default message, right? And here else, that means if there's no error, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the user redirect to the dashboard page, right? So I'm gonna use router.push in here. So router, it should become from here. So I'm gonna create that const router set equals to use router from the next navigation like this. Okay, great. I think it's fine. So let's now, we have some error on the console. So let's take a look here, invalid base URL. What is that? So let's take a look on the environment variables. Yeah, we have double equals right here. So everything should be fine right now. Let's take a look. I'm going to sign up. But I like to also open the npx Prisma Studio so you can see the database, right? Here it should be open localhost 5555. As you can see, everything is empty right now, right? The user and etc. Okay, the user is empty. I'm not sure about this error here. As you can see, the error is a Better Auth tutorial is not accessed. So I think I forget to running npx prisma db push, I believe. So let's just running that. And hopefully now everything it should be works. So let's do that npx prisma studio again. And then hopefully the error it should be gone right now. So let's take a look. I'm gonna open the user. As you can see, everything is works, right? There's no error. And as you can see, there's no user that login, right? Everything is just empty for now. Let's try. Here I'm gonna open the sign up and then I'm gonna log in with John. Let's do John Doe, and then the email, I'm gonna say john@mail.com, for example. The password, I'm gonna do 123 123 123 123 123 123. So let's click sign up. Nothing happened. Oh yeah, something happened, and now we on the dashboard. It means that this is successful. If you not believe me, let's take a look on the Prisma Studio. I'm going to refresh. And here we go. As you can see that here we have the user, right? So let's take a look. We have one user, right, that have this email. And then the password, it should be by default is encrypted, I believe. Let's take a look on the account. Where is the password? I believe right here, right? The password is encrypted by default. That is super cool. So the sign up is just work perfectly. So now let's try to log in because the login is not yet handled. As you can see, the handle submit is just empty for now. So let's try to just copy everything from here. But I think the first thing is I'm going to handle first the errors if the error happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this right here. As you can see, I catch the error and then set the error like this. And then just try to console log or console error. And then I'm going to put the error right here as a console error. And then finally set loading back to false. But of course, we have to put in here, set the error first into empty string, right? I think I'm going to check first if the password is matched or not, because we have the confirm password as well on the browser, right on the sign up page. So that's why I'm going to check that first in here. So I'm going to paste that. As you can see, the first is I check if the password is not equal to confirm password. I'm going to set the error password do not match, and then just return nothing in here. If the password length is less than 8, I'm going to put the password must be at least 8 character and then set the loading to true, right? This is very important. As you can see in here, for example, I do just not match password. we have the password do not match. That's cool, right? Just for validation. And now what I'm going to do is let's try to just copy everything in here, the handle submit, go back to the login, and then just paste that down here like that. So first we have to create the router right on the top in here, cons router set equals to use router from the next/navigation. Cool. So what we have to do in here is we don't need this confirm password, right? Because we're on the login page. And also we don't need this condition as well. It's fine for now. And then instead of sign up, I'm going to use sign in, right? Sign in come from the lib out client. And then in here, we don't need to send name because when user sign in, there's no name, just email and password. And also if something wrong happened, I'm going to do sign in failed. Sign in failed, right? I just do typo in here. It should be failed. Let's go back to sign up and then it should be failed, right? Here we go. Cool. And then if the sign in is success, it should be redirected to the dashboard. And then if something wrong happened, I'm going to do error occurred during sign in. Just that's it. Everything should be same. Cool. So now let's try to sign in, right? I forget the password, but let's just try it, right? This is the email. I'm gonna try to use this email. The password, I believe 123123, I think, or something like that. 123 again. Yes, here we go. I'm logged successful, right? That is pretty cool. And the next thing, what I'm gonna do is let's try to create the dashboard page so we can log out basically. Let me try to do that on the app, and then here we need to create the dashboard page, and then I'm gonna do page.tsx. So in this component, it should be really simple. So let's try to generate RFC, change the component name to dashboard page. We should see the dashboard page right here. And then for the UI, basically I just want to copy and paste. This is really simple. I'm going to use card component as well. So let's try to paste that. As you can see here, we need to import the card from the UI, card header, title, description, card content, and then this button as well, right? And then as you can see, for now, I just want to comment this p tag, right? The session value. And then we are going to create the handle sign out function. So let's do cons handle sign out set equals to an arrow function. So let's take a look at the result. I think, what is this? Oh yeah, because we're using on click this component, it should be client component. So let's try to change that into the client. Use client like this. And then as you can see, here we go. So how to get the session name and session email. So because on the lib out client, we have this use session. Of course, we can do that. Here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to first create the router set equals to use router from the next navigation, and then grab the data and then the is pending value from the use session, right? If I console log the session here, of course, I should have the value on the console of the browser, right? As you can see here, we have the object, the session, the user, right? The email, the ID, name, etc. And then we are going to render that in here. So let's just render like this. As you can see, we have the error because the session is possibly null. So that's why in here we need to check that first. So I'm going to add this condition. If session is empty, just return null. As you can see, the error should be gone. And also if the is pending here is true or Better Auth need time to get the session, what I'm going to do is just try to render this loading right here. So let's try to refresh that. And as you can see, we have this loading, and then after that we have the UI, right? The UI is just render. Cool. So what we have to do next is basically the use effect. So I'm going to make sure that this page here, it should be protected route. So that's why I want to paste this use effect right here, right? This use effect is basically check if the is pending is false and the session doesn't have any value. So it should be pushed user back to login. So let's take a look here. I'm going to sign out, right? And then try to access the dashboard again. Oh, the sign out's still not working because we not do anything with the handle sign out function here. So basically the function is really simple. As you can see here, it's basically just running this sign out. Come from the, let me see, add lib out client. Just running that, and then route push / to basically redirect user back to the home page. Let's take a look here. I'm gonna click sign out, and then I'm sign out. If I click the, let me try to go back to the root here. All right, I'm gonna click dashboard. As you can see, it's not allow me to access the dashboard because now I'm not logged in. So it means this use effect is work, right? So now let's try to working with the forget password, right? I'm gonna close everything, and I think I'm going to, let's try to just commit that first. So git add all, and then git commit -m, right? Integrate sign in and sign up with Better Auth. Hit enter, it's fine. So now what we have to do is, let's try to run that again, npm run dev. And then I believe we already have the forget password page, right? This page right here. So let's try to access that. Here, I'm gonna click the forget your password page. I'm gonna click that, and then it's still loading here. So let's see, this is the forget password page. And then let's take a look. What happened here if I click the button is basically this handle submit, right? Nothing happened, of course. So what we have to do here, of course, in this function, basically we need to run the forget password from the out client. This one right here, this function, we need to running that. And of course, this function, it should be async function like this. And we grab the event, right? And then also I'm gonna do e.prevent default. And then next thing is we should basically reset everything, the error, the success value, and the loading, right? So that's why in here, I'm gonna set that the error back to empty string, the set loading into false, and then set the success false, and the loading, it should be true because we are going to make a request. So here I'm gonna say try and then catch. Here we go, I grab the error. So inside the try, I'm going to create a variable called result set equals to await for forget password, right? And this forget password need to send this email. Email come from the state in here. And also it redirect to the reset password. So that's why we need to create the reset password page basically. So I'm going to create that reset password / page.tsx like this. So now I'm going to do RFC like this. Just change the component name to reset password page. For now, just like this is fine. So let's go back in here. And then again, we need to check if the result.error is have a value or not. So I think I just want to copy and paste this right here, right? If the result.error have a value, what I'm gonna do is set the error state into the result.error.message or put the default message in here, failed to send reset email, and the set success, it should be true if the result.error is not have a value. That means it's successful, right? And then just console log the password reset email sent to this email here, right? So if something wrong happened, I'm going to do inside the catch. So first I'm going to set the error into this error here. Please try again, and then console error, and then finally set the loading back to false because on the top right here, we're setting that to true. Great, just that's it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to create the UI for success true, right? Because by default is false. And then I'm going to do that inside the card content here. So if the success is true, what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this thing right here. Else, if the success is false, I'm going to render this form basically. So I'm going to cut every form in here, all the form, and then paste that in here. And then inside the success true, what I'm going to do, let's try to put the div right here, right, that have this alert basically. So I'm going to install or clone the alert component from the ShadCN, npx ShadCN @lattice @alert. All right, it's done. So we can run that again, npm run dev. And then let's try to import the alert from the UI and then alert description again. And then just to try that, I just want to put the success to true, just to kind of see the UI look like. Let's take a look. Here we go, right? password reset link has been sent to your email. All right, so everything is clean right now. So what we have to do is let's try. Here, I'm going to just try to refresh that, but we have this error, hydrate but some attribute, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure. Let's try to refresh that. As you can see, the error is gone. Back to login, and then I'm going to try to forget your password in here, but of course we need to make sure that the success by default is false, right? I'm going to put the email in here, right? The john@mail.com. For example, I forget the password. So here I'm going to click send reset link. If I click that, as you can see, reset password is not enabled. The reason is because let's just take a look on the outclient.ts file or the out.ts right here. We need to enable that first in here, I think. So in here, I'm going to paste this send reset password, and then I'm going to put the async function in here, async, and then I'm going to get the user and also the URL, right? And then this function is just return like this. For now, I just want to console log that. So let's try to console log. As you can see, reset password URL for user.email, and then put also the URL. Okay, I think for now is fine. So let's try to do that again. Hopefully it works, right? I'm gonna copy the email. Let's try to refresh, and hopefully there's no error. Cool. Let's try to paste that, send link. As you can see, reset password is not enabled. Still is not enabled. I'm not sure. So anyway, the problem is because this send reset password, it should be inside the email and password object, right? So I have to put that inside in here basically. So here we go. And now let's try that again. Here I'm gonna save and let's take a look. Here I'm gonna copy the email and then paste that, right? Let's try to click the send reset link, but I'm going to open the terminal in here, right? So let's try to send reset link, and as you can see, it's sending, and then password reset link has been sent to your email. But if we on the development, as you can see on this terminal, right? I can just click that and then open that, right? This basically will open the reset password and then send this token. So the token is basically right here, right? So first, let's try to working with the reset password page. So because the UI is really similar like the login or sign up, right? The UI is just similar. So I think I'm going to just copy everything in here, come from the login page, and then try to paste that right here. So I'm going to change the component name to the reset password page right here. And also I'm going to change the card title and also the card description. So I'm going to copy that and then paste that right here, right? The card title is basically reset password, and then the description, enter your new password. As you can see here, right? Cool. And then of course for the email in here, we don't need that. We need to remove that. We just need to put password and confirm password field. So let's try to just remove this div right here. I'm going to just remove that, right? And then trying to render the password field and then the confirm password field. So I'm going to paste that like this. As you can see, we have this new password, right? This input is basically have type password, this placeholder, the value is password, and then the input field will be disabled if there's no token. So the token is basically these token parameters right here on the top, the token params, right? So the way we get that, it's pretty simple. So let's scroll up. So first, I'm going to create state called token. So I'm going to put that value on this state basically. And then the way we get the params value is we're going to use search params. I'm going to paste that right here, right? The use search param is basically come from the next/navigation. And then the way we get that value is I'm going to use effect. So I'm going to paste this use effect right here. As you can see, this use effect is first running the search param.get token. So token is basically value right here, right? As you can see, after equal, we have token set equals to this value. And then now the value should be inside this token params. If there's no value, just put this error on the error state, invalid or missing reset token. If we have the token params value, just putting that on the token state in here, right? So if I console log the token, we should see that value on the console basically, right? This is null because I think the reason is because we have some error going on in here. So first, let's try to create the confirm password state. So I'm going to do that on the top right here. After we have password, we also have the confirm password, right? As you can see, after we have null, we have the value, right? This is basically the token. It's same like we see on the params URL here, right? So we have the value. Cool. Also, I'm going to change the button, I think, down here. As you can see, it should be not login, but it should be reset, right? So I'm going to paste that. As you can see, this button have tab submit, of course. And then it's basically will disable if the loading is true or the token doesn't have value. And as you can see, if the loading, we have the resetting, and also by default is reset password. So that's why here we have reset password. And of course, any link in here, I'm going to remove that. So let's just remove all this div. And basically, I'm going to add a new button in here. So this button is basically just back to login. As you can see, if I click the back to login button, it should be redirect me to /login. Here we go. That's it. Super cool. And then what the next thing we are going to do is let's take a look the handle submit function in here. So the first thing is, I think we need to check, right? So here, before we set the loading to true, we need to check if the password is not matched. Just set the error to password do not match. So here, if I do not match password, as you can see, password do not match, right? And then if the password.length is less than 8, we have this error message. If the token doesn't have value, we have this invalid reset token. And then finally set loading to true. Cool. So let's take a look what happened on this try. So in this try, what we have to do is we need to run a reset password function. So I'm going to remove this and run the reset. Let's do reset password function from the lib out client. And then what we need to send in here is basically new password. New password set equals to password, right? Like this. And also we need to send the token like that. Here we go. Cool. And then the error message, by default, I'm going to change this into the failed to reset the password. And also, if there's no error, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the success to true. Set success is basically state. And then after that, user should be redirected to the login page with new password, of course. And I use set timeout to second. And then this set success is we need to create that on the top basically. So I'm going to do that in here. As you can see, the success set success, and then by default is false, right? If the error doesn't have value, set success, it should be true in this case. And also I'm going to change the error here, right? Just say this, please try again, reset password error. Just that's it. And also I'm going to add this condition in here. If there's no token or the error doesn't have value, I'm going to say this loading with 3 dots, right? Cool. So now let's just try to reset that, right? Here I'm going to say like the new password should be, I don't know, let's say new password 123. Let's do new password 123. So let's click reset password. And then hopefully it will redirect me to the login. Cool, right? Now we log in. Let's try to do the email. I forgot that. john@mail.com. And then the new password is new password 123. So now it should be working. Great. That means the reset password is successful, right? But this is just work on the development, of course, because the way we get the token is just from the terminal, right? So now we are going to use Resend package. So let's take a look on the Resend right here. This basically allows us to send the token and basically the link into the client email. So let's try to just sign in first. So I already signed in, and then the next thing is we need to create a new API key. So I'm going to click this API key, create API key, right? The name is up to you. I'm going to give a name reset password service. And then as you can see the permission, you can see in here, if you use full access, it's basically will allow to get, to create, to delete any resource. For the sending access, it's basically just allow to only send email. So that's what I want, which is the sending access. So let's try to click add. And then now we have this API key. So I'm going to copy that, right? I'm going to copy that and then go back in here, go to the environment variables. And then I'm going to make a comment in here. I'm going to say resend email service. And then I'm going to give a name resend API underscore key, right? Set equals to that value like this, or just put that inside a string. It's same basically. And also because we on the development, I'm going to put the resend from email into the onboarding at resend.dev. This is allowed to test without verifying a domain. But for the production, of course, you have to put your own custom domain, right? You have to like verify your custom domain on the Resend dashboard, basically. So for now, it is fine for the development mode. So first, inside the lib folder, I'm going to create another file called Resend. So let's do resend.ts file. And then I'm going to paste this right here, right? And of course, we have to basically install the Resend package. If you take a look on the Resend documentation here, I'm going to open that. And then where's that? The installation. Where's the installation? So we need to click the introduction and then Next.js quick start. And then what we need to do next is we need to install the Resend package. I'm going to copy that. And then open terminal. Let's try to paste that in here, right? npm install Resend. After that, as you can see, we initialize the Resend with API key from the environment variable. We do new Resend and then put the Resend API key in here. And also for the default sender email, I'm going to use this process.env.resend from email, and then also this is the value by default. So let's do that again, npm run dev. So the next thing is I'm going to create the email template. I'm going to do that on the, let's do lib folder, right? So inside the lib folder, I'm going to create a file called email-template.tsx. And basically I just want to copy and paste right here, right? Anyway, you can generate the better format if you want to use React email, I believe. Yes, as you can see, you can use React email package basically. But for now, I think it's fine just to use this right here, right? Just normal HTML. As you can see, this function get reset password email HTML is basically take a email and then reset the URL. And then render the email in here and then render the reset URL in here. Super simple. Now let's try to run the get reset password email HTML inside the auth.ts file. So what we have to do first is I'm going to remove the console log and try to run the try and catch in here. So first I'm going to create a variable called email HTML and run the get reset password HTML, right? It's basically send this user email and also URL as a parameter, because as you can see in here, we have that parameters. So the next thing is we need to run the resend. So here I'm going to make a comment. I'm going to say send the email using resend. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to paste this, right? It's basically grab the data and error from the with resend, right? Resend.email.send from, this is basically from the resend. And then the two is user.email. The subject is reset your password. The HTML, this will be sending on the as email. It's basically come from the email HTML here, right? Just that's it. And then what we have to do is check if something wrong happened and etc. So first I'm going to check if something wrong happened or the error have a value. As you can see, it's just console error, this thing right here, and then through the error as well. And also I just like to give a console log in here. As you can see, reset email sent successfully to this user.email and then console log the data.id as well. This is just for a development. I'm going to paste that in here. As you can see, in development also log the URL for easy testing. So we are going to also console log the URL if we on the development. And then if something wrong happened, I just want to console error like this, and then just grab the error like that. So the important part is just this one right here, right? Just running this await, resend emails, and then send, and then everything in here. That's just the important part. Cool. So everything is set up. Now let's try. So anyway, if you're using Resend in the development mode, it just works if you use your email that login in the Resend. So that's in here. I using my email right here. How to see my email? This one right here, right? This is my email. So first, I'm going to sign up first using that email because I want to see on my inbox, right, on the email, of course. So I'm going to back to login, click that, and then sign up first because we don't have any account, right? As you can see, just one user in here. So the name is my name, and then the email is my email here at gmail.com. And then for the password, I'm going to do just random things, 123, 123, 123, and then 123, 123, 123. Click sign up. And then now sign up failed. I'm not sure what happened. So let's try to go to inspect and then go to console. What is this? So anyway, I'm not sure what happened here. So let's try to see on the console. As you can see here, we have the error. It's a like cannot resolve this package right here. React email / render. So I'm gonna copy that package, and now I'm gonna say npm install the React email / render. Okay, it's done. So now let's do npm run dev again, and hopefully now it works. So let's try to sign up, and then hopefully, as you can see, now we on the dashboard. And then if I go to the Prisma Studio, I'm going to refresh. It should be have 2 user right now, right? This is my email. Great. So for example, I forget my password. So let's try to just go back to the root of the browser of the URL. And then I'm going to go to login and then try to forget password here, right? And then here, I'm going to put just random email first. As you can see, it's basically still working, but of course, it's not going to do anything. So now let's try to, maybe we get the error. As you can see here, right, on the terminal, if we put email that doesn't available on the database, as you can see, we have this reset password user not found, right? That's pretty cool. So now let's put the correct email in here. I'm going to do my email, right, at gmail.com. And then I'm going to open my Gmail first. All right, so this is my Google email. Of course, I'm going to blur some information in here, but let's try. Here, I'm going to click send resend link. As you can see, this is a successful. And then of course, on the console in here, also it's successful. Let's try to go back to my inbox. As you can see, I have one inbox right here. If I click that, we have onboarding, right? And then it's a reset your password. So if I click that, as you can see in here, it's a reset your password. Hi there, we receive a request reset from the password for your account, and then we can just click this reset password. This is basically come from the email template that we create in here, right? And as you can see, this is the reset link. If I click that, of course, it will basically redirect me to the localhost 3000 / reset password. And then the important part in here is the token, right? And now I can put the new password in here, like my password, for example. Let's do my password. And then I'm going to do just random things, just try to see what happened. As you can see, password do not match. Cool. Let's do again my password, reset password, and it should be work, right? Pretty cool. If I log in with my account, if I do the old password, as you can see, of course, it's a invalid email or password. If I do my password, if I log in, and now I'm on the dashboard. That's how the reset password work on the Next.js and Better Auth, and we are using these Resend as well, right? That is pretty cool, and how simple to implement the reset password using Better Auth. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you can implement the reset password on your project. So see you on the next one.